Gen G versus WOL.
And here we go. It is the last stand for VCT China, going up against the juggernauts from the Pacific in Gen G. Who comes out on top with this one? You have two great teams that could very well go all the way, but it's all about who wants it more right now.
Gen G looking for another run to a trophy. For Wolves, looking for their first opportunity, already the deepest run of any Chinese team but EDG. And trying to keep that miracle going.
And they said it themselves, the story for them from now on is just everything is a gift from this point on. And as we take a look at the OMEN map select, Split is going to be the first one. We were just speaking about that, Tejo, that maybe for Gen G was not the call, maybe what took them that brink into losing to Fnatic. Maybe we see some changes, bringing in the Fade, but Wolves definitely spotted something that made them want to go into this map. For all of the matches that I think in this tournament, the Split has been an option, which has been one they've picked and decided to go there. So it should not come as a surprise for Gen G in the slightest.
Yeah, Sunset as map 2 is going to be interesting. Have not seen Wolves play that map yet, so it's going to be a surprise no matter what they pick into there.
See the fans, everyone's all ready to go for this one. The energy in this arena is unbelievable. The electricity is just truly off the charts as the fans are getting ready. They want to see who's going to come out on top with this one. Both teams, fan favorites here. We talk about Wolves being the main characters, but it does feel like Gen G might just be the antagonist that ends their run here today. Question is, though, whether or not Wolves can actually stand tall here, and you see Texture as he gets ready to go, Kukuka. This is going to be the guy on the server that I'm looking out for through and through. How can he not be?
We've been speaking wonders of both Texture and Juicy. At some point, someone has to be above Texture, otherwise he will be the king of this tournament. For Juicy, one of the biggest opportunities, if he can keep up the performance that we've seen so far, the chance could be his.
So much of what I'm looking at on this game, across all of the maps, is how Gen G can flush the lurks from Spring. Wolves is almost always going to play slow, attack side defaults with double smoke comps, focusing on getting Spring into lurk positions on that Viper. I think the win condition against this team is not giving first picks to that guy, denying him space, and clearing that back away when you're on your defense.
So much that they're going to have to worry about here, right? There's just so many layers. But I like what we saw earlier, though, Kukuka, what you were showing us with that deadlock. It just goes to show that this team, this Wolves squad, when you think that they could be a little transparent, no, they have so much complexity with them.
I think that, of course, we expect another stellar performance for the side of Scream. I'm looking at YU. I think that he was very good in the last match, and I think that he could also be the difference. Looking at this split, expecting the double controller plus the Cypher is what we can see, and Gen G has locked it in. They have no doubts, and they're repeating the same composition that they played against Fnatic. The Tejo is in. They will be starting on the defense, and they better start strong.
Yeah, this is a weird one. Gen G on defense. This is where they faltered against Fnatic. Their biggest problem was struggling to re-clear with a lack of information utility. They had to push into Fnatic a lot. Fnatic held for that aggression and punished them and got to play those man advantages on their attack side mid-rounds. I think Wolves is going to try and go for a very similar thing. So it's a question of what Gen G changes up off of their learnings in the Fnatic game.
Yeah, and I want to see how Wolves, being a team that has experienced what that deadlock, and of course we're peeking this map and knowing that possibility of Foxy being in it was very, very real, how they're going to deal with it.
A little interesting to see both the Viper and Cypher picked up for Wolves. Normally teams are only going into one of those agents. They fill a pretty similar role, but there's a lot of utility to stall on defense, a lot of opportunity for lurks on attack.
Toronto, let's get this show on the road and send it over to your casters. And I hope Pansy's got a gift because it's HyperX's birthday today, baby.
Welcome back, Michael. Happy birthday. Hopefully this is going to be a bit of a treat because we also have that as well.
Well, I was going to say if we did anything on the show today, but thank you, it's not even lit. So no fire zone, I guess. But thank you very much. Yeah, an absolute gift, hopefully, today with this matchup. I mean, there's many a talking point here.
Okay, let's start with Gen.G, right? Kind of the gatekeepers of greatness here, right? This could be where the fun stops for Wolves. This could be Dream Run.
Yeah, although it's not do or die for Wolves, this is certainly,
it's not.
again, there's a very short list of teams from CN that have made it this far, so certainly here with potentially a lifeline, no elimination, still a chance to make it work, but Gen.G are who they have to overcome, and really here for Wolves in terms of new kids on the block, making a dream run. We're really going to tap into sort of the preparation coming into this. Almost a benefit, actually, to come to Split and see the same composition for Gen.G.
Because this puzzle has been solved. We've seen it before, the desk going through it. Mimi highlighting that, you know, the cycling of the utility was a profound problem in the game up against Fnatic previously. And now we ask the question, do Wolves find that same sort of look here? Already though, Texture, who has been probably one of the highlight players thus far, off to a belting start.
Certainly slow things down here in the pistol, as well as this utility in mid. Wolves probably happy to sit behind this, wait for anything further if Gen.G do show anything. So the Viper util goes back up, now stacked up. Reinforcements here in mid.
This deadlock's look good, Mike. I've liked seeing it here. Foxy9 looking solid on this, and we've expected this sort of pace from Wolves, right? Slow, cautious, methodical, very clear-cut, very precise in approach. But the timing from Foxy9 will hinder this. It's going to slow them down. Paranoia's going to come through, but a quick slip towards the site means safety is secured. Texture still unaffected. They've given up a lot of space, though, and there's not that many rotations. Mike, where's the support here? Texture left on his island, still going to get 2 so far. Looking to make it a 3rd. He's done it! 13 seconds! This guy is just out of his mind. 10 seconds left. Looking for more! Come on! Almost an ace off the rip. And look at the time. Spring. A little too late to this one. Looking more like summer and autumn at this point. It's done for Gen.G. Round 1.
Can't ask for much more from Texture to kick things off here. Certainly discussing an MVP level performance already so far here in Toronto. Only really the reload that prevents the ace from coming through here. Just a lack of pressure, really. I would call it lack of coordination, but the swings here you can see in the replay. Happy to sit back, dig his heels in, and deliver here for Gen.G. As well, just coming back to that discussion on the deadlock. Talk about how, you don't really want to say all in on this first wave of utility with Teo, but certainly deadlock, a tool to slow things down beyond that. Not necessarily removing the risk, I guess, of that lack of utility. Wolves kicking off slowly here.
And if we're talking bigger picture, look, Gen.G's pistols have been really solid. I mean, statistically, it's been the case.
The numbers show that for sure.
Yeah, so this, I don't want to say an expected result, but you know, you kind of know that Gen.G is going to get a good start here. For Wolves, they need to build back in now, though. This round, obviously just with the classics, not going to find too much. Obviously, the extremity dealt with by Texture and Caron. I mean, not going to leave it all to Texture. He's a name in the mix here. Obviously, Gen.G, it's a bit of a highlight reel. Hard to avoid many of them, and Caron's still going farming. And now you've just got the main man himself, the one that's won kind of hearts and minds out here. CFA Baby has been outstanding for this squad, but slow starts here, and Gen.G clean as anything.
I think as well, Wolves probably need to find a way to deal with this utility in mid. Gen.G's ability to really close the shutter. Texture able to farm up, that's probably pretty close to his ultimate already, just 1 away. See early learnings here to find from a round like this. How Wolves choose to navigate beyond that. There needs to be obviously pressure across the map. They want to weaken Foxy9's ability in terms of locking it down. 2-0 the start here, first buy round here for Wolves. Spread evenly in this default.
But I like this deeper push towards B, even that audio cue, kind of planting their flag in this map very early on. I like this from Gen.G. Not afraid to make moves, and even on towards that A side as well, pushing up a little bit deeper. You saw only in that second round, Texture willing to take that fight.
His presence shown on both sides of the map for Gen.G, so... See, Trip dealt with early in B main, so we'll force Leeds Cowan a little deeper here with the Guardian.
Toxins going up.
Late use of the drone as well to re-clear, actually.
Missile deployed.
Outside A. So Gen.G with a pretty good idea now of where the focal point is. Munchkin going to be first on the chopping block, potentially.
There's a lot of pressure on middle, but Foxy9 is up to the test. Takes away Juicy, and that's a big player gone, right? That's a lot of that springboard into the site now lost. This is starting to worry me. When we're looking at the time, 35 seconds, they haven't had a huge success anywhere. They didn't get the steps towards middle. They're not getting towards B. Gen.G looking so refined in holding this.
Yeah, that bait and switch in mid on the back of the Prowler. Executed to perfection. Wolves almost left scratching their heads now at the buy round. Probably feel as if you want to hold on to these rifles here. You only see on the minimap, Spike not committed anywhere. Not even going to look for a kill here, so a big win for Gen.G with the bonus. We'll apply further pressure here onto Wolves. And like I said, really, I mean, the big positive would be even to go even in this trade for mid in this first buy round for them. Whether or not Gen.G got any further layers here to apply. Still being able to get something back. Two players that did struggle financially, but there's a Guardian between them. Perfect timing here for Karen as well to pick up that kill.
This hasn't felt difficult yet.
No, I mean, coming into this, we were talking about what is very kind of hard-hitting, simple Valorant, right? It's, you know, a slow default, wait out some of this utility, but I mean, the real concern here with the Teo, as Mimi was touching on the desk, is obviously that second wave, right? Or some of the other things that we saw Tejo do very effectively. Here, it's not even really an issue. Wolves aren't getting over the first hurdle almost.
Yeah, I need to see them come up with a little bit more here, because we know the potential is there, but off the start, Spring and Lysa are the only ones who've been able to get even a kill thus far. It's been quiet. The map feels like it's not even a 50-50. A lot of, you know, the extremities are under Gen.G's control. Yeah,
and you don't want to see Wolves coin flipping on some of these scenarios. You want to see them come in, reinforced, and kind of hit these kind of pressure points for Gen.G, but they haven't really figured out where they are just yet.
No, it feels like they couldn't quite get that grip on how they want to approach middle. I mean, we saw Juicy kind of go in there almost solo through the smoke and gets dealt with, and that felt like it fizzled the round. So then does this become almost indicative of a very direct approach from Wolves? That's kind of how you're going to imagine it, right? These kind of slower defaults, working through middle and those extremities quite passively, didn't really reward them much. And now they're going to go for a direct site approach. That's going to, if anything, now reward the operator. And
actually a much deeper setup here from Foxy9 in terms of the util, so see whether or not actually Wolves will find something to exploit here towards A. Still two members for Gen.G, Munchkin and Karen. There'll be contact found here.
Let's see what they do with this though. Do they... Okay, so right now Gen.G are re-clearing middle as well.
I was going to say, right on the back of this, there's a re-clearance through mid. No confirmation just yet, but...
Look how deep they're holding this default though, right? Because Texture's temptation will be to maybe fact-find further. Or do you assume they're all there? Texture, you don't, no. Ooh, he's a lucky boy, 5 HP, and he's still breathing. But it shows that there's still a default in play, right? That's pretty indicative that there's pressure elsewhere. Maybe there's still presence middle, but there's still more going on here. This presence in ramp has drawn the rotation now.
I was going to say, if Texture hadn't taken damage, actually, they could almost, with this trip up towards B Heaven, send an extra body across, but there's the awareness there. Gen.G, obviously, with where this trap placement is, have given up mid. Got to be aware of vents now.
Yeah, there is a chance that vent player could be a problem, but it's already being watched, and with Texture on that deep line, they're safe! Karen, how are you hitting that? But finally, Wolves breaking on the site. There's an extra body here. They don't know about it. Gen.G simply have him. Numbers Spring still fighting forward. Wolves in the 2v2. Rotation on the way, but it's Karen. Looks right, takes down one. Looks for the follow-up. Karen is on it! 4 kills, and Gen.G reading Wolves like a book.
You can even see here the general idea of numbers of where Wolves are. A couple of players unconsidered, but this second swing through the smoke, absolute perfection from Heaven. Karen in particular stands his ground here, finds 4 on the round, the second 4K for Gen.G. Unfortunately, another situation when it comes down to just 2, not able to sync up, get a unified swing onto site here. Fantastic play from Gen.G. Wolves now back down to all but 1 Sheriffs across the board.
These 1-1-3 approaches. They're tough. Those late retakings of space coming out from the likes of Texture or that almost awareness of the, okay, we've left vents open, that's fine, we'll kind of catch that from heaven. Again, Gen.G very aware of the board here. I need to see if Wolves can be disruptive. I want to see them try and get in their faces now. Garon, this feels like rinse and repeat, right? But there's no flying Juicy towards the site.
Yeah, on the back of actually the Paranoia invested there, there's not really going to be much behind that. So a big win out for Gen.G on a less purchase.
I mean, the one benefit...
1 HP, by the way.
I guess there is that small benefit in the fact that they are figuring out that maybe they can draw that utility out of Ashe, and it's incredibly hard then for Gen.G to re-clear some of these spaces. But this isn't the round to make the most of it. This might be another moment for the man here. 5 and 1, make it 6. Count them up as you go. Juicy's gone down, and he doesn't look under pressure. But oh my goodness! Oh my god! Texture! This is unthinkable! He's a one-man army, and Wolves down to 2 now. Still a chance, but 20 seconds. Someone's got to go above and beyond for their side if they want a chance in this one. Spike's knocked down, and this slow creeping death with the judge is coming in from Munchkin. You got 10 seconds. They have to make their move. Munchkin now knows the player nearby. That judge is lethal.
Spike planted.
As Spring got to try and clutch up. It ain't happening. Gen.G. Mike, these guys look so controlled.
Yeah. So drilled today. We got Texture and Karen delivering on opposite sides of the map here. Not much for Wolves to do. A lack of inventory in this round. I mean, he's just happy to stand his ground here. Actually, a miracle almost that he shut down what he was. A well-placed headshot by Spring, but not many positives for Wolves to build upon here. Back into a bye round. Really, now you're asking something to step up the pace a little bit. They've got to find some sort of victory in the early round in terms of util drawn out or a trade somewhere across the map, because Gen.G are just winning everything.
And it feels like Gen.G have got all the right kind of solutions so far. They know their strengths and weaknesses. Maybe learning from that game up against Fnatic, but a big opportunity here for Wolves to try and put together all of the pieces they've learned thus far. But as it stands, the big man himself, Texture, is over here. This guy, again, absolutely miraculous performance. Gen.G re-clearing towards ramp. And we know the pace coming out from Wolves is slow, but they are still here. And now here comes the fight. Already Texture can't support here, denied by the cross. Already Foxy9 just holding that corner. And it feels like these kills are untradeable. How many times we've seen Juicy go down and not have support? Spring is there to take away Ashe, but there's still time being purchased.
They're so hesitant to swing onto that. A window of opportunity passing them by almost. Luckily now, will equalize. It's level pegging now with a 4v4, but 45 seconds, you're looking for another win for Wolves really, but it doesn't come. Texture finds one. Munchkin now with a judge shut down. Lysor potentially opening up this round.
But the spikes here towards A, if their temptation is to rotate through towards B, which isn't a bad shout, they still need to get this spike through vents, through middle, over towards B. And you can see that maybe Texture's going to try and mirror that. If it goes silent towards A, that inkling is it's going to be this B hit. But look who's waiting here, Karen. No slats by any means. Hello. No. Oh dear. Oh dear, we need another timeout. We need to get this one right, because that should never have happened. Caron just given the gifts of the kingdom. Look at this guy, just the keys left out on the table. There's the support from Texture. 8 seconds, and it's confidence from Texture. He's playing with him, he's toying with him, and maybe you should respect him. But look at the HP, it's long.
Did you miss?
And actually, a gift, a chance. There was a second it became possible, Mike, but this slate remains clean. Gen.G unfazed so far.
The Lysor TP leans towards maybe being a little rattled here, the nerves getting to Wolves. Obviously, we're talking about elimination, but the stakes much higher versus Gen.G here. Almost a jump scare for Lysor. Again, the difference being, look how quickly Texture's happy to swing onto this to try and bail Karen out. Second timeout pulled here before round 7. Like I said, is feeling a little rattled here. Maybe looking towards a desperation play to get something on the board.
Well,
to stop the rot, basically.
When we're looking at the entry power, right, Juicy is 0-6 right now, and there hasn't been many trades even off his deaths. The spacing feels like it's being punished.
Yeah, actually, there are many other times you talk about duelists actually numerically not looking, but if you're getting bodies onto a site,
that's fine.
Yeah,
as long as, you know, if it's serving
cost,
a purpose,
basically, yeah.
But right now there isn't that next layer to it. It feels like there's hesitance here from Wolves, which is
the ramp
surprising.
situation, we could see on the X-ray two players ready, stacked up, ready to re-swing onto that, but nobody wanted to commit. They're curious what the comms are there, of whether or not somebody's not stepping up to the plate. But again, it's across the board right now for a team that has come to Toronto and almost become a fan favorite off the rip.
And rightly so. The way they were playing, it's hard to not enjoy watching them, right? You started to believe in it a bit, right? It was that like, okay, we've got another great team coming out of this region, cool. Let's see how far they can go. And it has been a bit of a miracle so far, that dream run, right? And now it feels like they've met one of the giants. Now they've taken down some big teams on the way, but Gen.G, you're looking at these guys, honestly, throughout Swiss, they were one of the best.
Yeah, especially with the form we're talking about.
Yep. But a timeout, Mike. Maybe it'll help.
Well, but again, it's now a concern to have to pull the trigger on that in round 7. Let's talk about both timeouts being done in one half.
Again,
just who's behind that?
Where's the utility? Where's the layering?
What's the value of this peak?
And that's hard for Juicy as well. Like, I'm not expecting him to be able to just like clean swing middle and be able to, you know, do what he needs to. It needs everything to set it up in motion, but it's just not there. And Texture, not enough this time. Gets taken down by Spring.
Able to actually deny info off that trap. This Texture caught completely off guard here. Lysol considering a bold move, actually.
Oh no, but...
Whoa! Munchkin caught off guard as well!
Munchkin caught sleeping at the wheel. Lysol wants this one. He's powering forward for Wolves. 2 big kills. And maybe given a chance here. Hope reignited down at Ash and Karen. And Karen's been really dangerous though. Ash could be in trouble here.
Spike planted.
Missile deployed.
Missile going, double swing. Nice from Wolves, much better. Karen falls, there we go. Finally breaking the curse.
Thank God for that. A little more proactive, but Gen.G caught sleeping on 3 separate occasions in this round. Credit where it's due to Wolves for dissecting this B site hold, but that started with Juicy falling for free in mid. A bold maneuver from Lysol. That's reflected in Munchkin's reaction to the situation, or lack thereof.
One enemy remaining.
The Wolves able to drag this one across the line.
He's up.
You can see on the other side of the stage still smiles.
It's one of those, it felt like overconfidence, right? Some of those peaks, good to see it being punished. This could maybe curb some of that, I guess, confidence coming
It's also like the player act. When Juicy falls, you can see it's almost like, oh God, not again.
Here we go, yep. Oh dear, right. Texture's been just about everywhere in this map, it feels like. Set up here by the drone. This actually could work here. Yep, that does give him the angle now to...
He's gonna take the space back though.
Look, he's been doing well at these deeper lines too. He's, you know, we saw it over towards that B main early on. Oh my God, they're coming this way. Texture has no idea how many people are about to come out of those sewers. Do they clear it with the Prowler? I think that might be in hand, but the timing.
The temptation to almost sit on that rope there and just hold it.
This Prowler's good though. It's really good. Nice work there. Have to invest it early though. This is, you know, look how deep that has to just clear Texture away from this, and then not even heading this way. Thinking that's enough of a fake, but it's not. There's still 3 players for Gen.G on this side of the map. They're gonna try and get through heaven, but look who's waiting. Foxy9 buys some time. Take a seat. They have to try and flee the site here. Gen.G still holding numbers, still looking unfazed. 35 seconds. The time's gonna start running low. Foxy9!
Spike down, B.
How many times are Gen.G gonna be doing this? One after the other. We've seen Karen do it. We've seen Texture. Now Foxy9 puts his name up in lights. There's just Spring. Has to take the walk. It's 15 seconds. The spike is in Narnia. Another one back here for Gen.G.
10 seconds left.
You can see the amount of stall invested to this setup. We'll get a chance to look at it once again, but Wolves figure out where the operator is in this round, and just the obstacle course laid out by Gen.G. So many things for Wolves to deal with.
Yeah, you can stand up for that one. Yeah, that one's good. That's solid. I mean, this does feel like we've got kind of the two fronts of Gen G working here. Individually, yeah, they're hitting like a truck, right? This again, beautiful control, but look at spacing.
I mean, yeah, this is the first time to actually see
someone trying to swing
in a position, stacked up, ready to try and deal with somebody. It's got to be frustrating.
Well, you feel like you're hitting a literal brick wall.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, cool, we're going to try and trade in, get that spacing right up. Okay.
In a game of numbers, you still want to put yourself in those positions. So,
trying to speed up on this, but Munchkin joined by Ash with just a shot in the dark, and it works. Going to take down Texture. That's the first step here. Can they get this building from this point, though? An untraded kill back, that's perfect. Ash, though, filling the gap towards middle. And if they take their eyes off the ball for a moment, if Foxy9 pulls their attention here, and they're so confident. Look at the swing, they're getting punished on this confidence. Karen is still holding the site. No. Okay, the paranoid didn't land.
Well, actually, it comes down to a 2v2, but a lot of time to work with here. Pit actually will expire over towards A, so now Munchkin in a pretty rough spot. Potential here for Wolves to pinch him.
Lovely, lovely. What?
That's bold. That is very bold to leave somebody behind them now. Karen, a lot of ground to cover to regroup here, but looking as if they might actually stack up towards main. Looking for a safe plant from Wolves.
Yep.
And a very comfortable post plant here. Plenty of time to set it up. They don't necessarily know, but the pit will enable that as well.
Look at the pace, though. Look at the pace coming in. Munchkin wants in on this fast. Both ults pretty much sent towards CT, but Munchkin's already controlling the site. The other side of this. I'm not going to get that one done. A little too far. But Karen now closing in as well. Both of them now kind of on the other side of the pillar. What can he do here? A couple of smokes, but that's about it. Timing is everything. Spring first to fall. So does the pit, and now Karen's got a real chance of this. See if that baby's gotta clutch up here for a chance here. The nerves now starting to show here. What are you gonna do? No way, no way. Nicely handled. Took the tour, but he gets the job done. Second round for Wolves.
Everyone will fall, but a second on the board nonetheless. Not necessarily a sigh of relief in terms of the finances, but certainly in terms of this scoreline. Another example here where the trades come through quick enough. Like I said, comes down to a 2v2, but Wolves able to stabilize a little bit.
That damn smile. 7-2. Come on, can they recover this? This feels like there's still something here, right? Maybe a bit of that confidence starting to building, maybe a bit of that back in yourself. Maybe Wolves aren't done yet. They've kept the buy humble. Look at Munchkin. Look at Ash. Bulldog, Stingers. They've given themselves. They've carved out a little bit of room here for Wolves. Gonna have the ult ready for Juicy. One away from YU.
Bring them down.
Couple of options now.
To slow down the early rounds, much like the start of Split. 4 over towards B main here. Munchkin and Karen tasked with controlling this.
Ooh, Karen had to give away the game. These horns have been really nice. Genuinely, really nice. The ult. Do you see what happened? I don't understand what happened there. I hope we catch it on a replay, but oh god, no. This
Do I want to know?
I'm actually left back, but not again. 59 swings in, gets 2, and Ash is there. What's happened there to Wolves, Mike?
Well, the showstopper's gone somewhere. Certainly not the intended placement, I'd hope.
I'm watching for this replay. I just don't understand how it happened. Okay.
Karen dealt with here. I mean, that's rough.
Okay.
I mean, down to 1 HP because of decay taking effect.
And this has been a really hard game from 0 and 10. Like and these sort of moments weigh heavy. They weigh really heavy on a duelist player who's used to be able to take in that space, being
Who's looked fantastic here as well.
Yes, and to have a downturn in performance like this feels really harsh. 8-2. Can he pick himself back up? Big question here. And that judge could be lethal in the middle. Munchkin.
We can see on the X-ray.
Brave boy. Oh dear.
Look to regroup back towards sewers. Munchkin will give up the space temporarily, but tucks into Mayo now. Texture will be foaming at the mouth here. Oh, but actually, swing and a miss on the first, but Wolves not able to springboard on the back of that and look to overwhelm the operator. Obviously with an Eon, it's tough to really pin him down after that first shot, regardless if he hits or not. But 50 seconds now. Still actually are able to slow down any progress towards A site. And even further now, the utility causing lots of problems for Wolves.
God, why do I feel Texture might be on for one here? Here they come, that's the first.
30 seconds left.
Foxy9 gets the second. Foxy9 is just cruising through this game. Sadly, the purchase obviously in this round was far from perfect for Wolves. Trying to make it work with what they had, just Sheriffs, maybe a little bit of hope. But Texture still just controlling the site, making it difficult here. He's feeling that pressure, getting closer. 10 seconds, they got to work for a while. The spike gets dropped.
Spike
See if that
down
BB goes down, and now it's all too easy for Texture. Good Lord, can anyone stop him?
Texture again delivering for Genji. Foxy9 as well. Crucial kills for him to kind of keep that pressure away from Texture on site with the operator. Staring down the barrel, at least a purchase here in round 12 for Wolves.
Let's go.
But potentially looking at the best scenario being a 9-3.
Not an impossible score if they get that third, but you've got to add into the equation.
Yeah,
Genji good on the pistol.
Certainly not feeling good about that one, but...
No, but Wolves need to keep some hope.
Yeah, that would definitely be a positive, all things considered. So he's starting, what, 6-0 in this half. Both timeouts used. A long road back ahead of them in the second half.
I want to try and clear ramp control again. We've seen that kind of different tempo from Texture, aggressive, now sitting very, very passive.
Almost now playing with the idea of where is the operator, right?
Yep. They're making it hard.
Yeah, testing this default. Now they know, Juicy again, another first step for him.
Feels sacrificial at this point, but there's no benefit for it. Spring trying to slip ahead here. He's actually done really well. Completely unexpected. Spring finds a bit of timing. Munchkin now a little bit worried. He's got pressure. Great work from Wolves, making some space on this B site. You could potentially get a plant here as well. You do have mid being controlled by YU. This is good. Plants in play.
30 seconds
and
left.
Player advantage.
Actually, make that an even further advantage. Now just a 1v4 for Ash. Revealed. Not even getting it at first. Lysol will shut it down. A 9-3 half here for Genji. You could argue a slight recovery towards the end for Wolves, but like I said, a tall order here in the second half.
10 seconds left. One enemy remaining.
Get blinded by your headlights. Tunnel vision, losing feeling here in paradise. I don't know if I can take it, can we slow it down?
So far, but the two teams need your energy. So if you want Genji to win, let me hear you! Oh, I feel there's a little bit of Wolves fan here. If you are a fan of Wolves, I want to hear you howl with me on a count of 3. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, ow! One more time, if you want Genji to win, let me hear you! And for the Wolves, oh! And one more big check for Masters Toronto!
Let's
be realistic here. A 9-3 half, but let's kind of look at how we got to this. It felt like Wolves found a couple of ways forward, but it felt a bit too late in the day.
Certainly did. I mean, a couple of opportunities outside B, for example, that B main hold almost for Gen G. Caught off guard a little bit. Obviously see here with the econ report from Coinbase. Again, with a scoreline like this, tough to really take away many positives, Lauren.
Yeah, and I think the one, even in a negative light, that I feel bad saying it, but I want to see more from Juicy. He's had a really brutal first half.
Certainly the anomaly that stands out here for the negative reasons, but again, not really riding on his shoulders. Like I said, I mean, we discussed this, right? It's fine if your duelist goes 1-12, but if he's dying on site and you're following through, absolutely fine by that. That's not the case for Wolves here in the first half.
But those 3 rounds give a couple of opportunities. The issues begin, though, with the pistol, Mike, because we've talked about this. I mean, everyone knows it. Gen G statistically are nuts at pistol rounds.
And also when you can take into consideration converting the bonus and then 3 rounds behind that in the first half, you've got to beg that Wolves able to find success here if there's any hope of recovering split.
Gotta go.
Texture. Just making it harder for him.
6th man for Wolves right now, slowing down that progress towards site.
But again, it's an early tester. And they actually make it out pretty, I was going to say unscathed, but Foxy9 did catch a lot of damage.
He did. He's drawn an extra body, but still mid firmly in control of Wolves. And it's almost actually I mean, the timing there was actually perfect on the minimap if you see when Spring decided to head back over towards B.
Oh, this is going to be hard. It's Juicy on this side of the map too.
Yeah.
Right, this is a time for him to, if he gets a good start here, that could just bring him back.
Oh, blind, actually,
Lovely, and that's so indicative. Finding texture there feels like there's got to be more, right? There's got to be more players behind this. See Spring slowly coming back over as well. Gen G trying to work in the dark almost.
But down to 30 seconds now, you'd almost hope that even though texture falls there,
30 seconds left.
You'd want to see Gen G take advantage of that.
And Juicy still able to play into this, and the cross is being watched. That's fantastic from Wolves. A 2v3 though. Numbers still looking good for Wolves here. Denied the springboard straight through heaven, but still, plant's gonna be in for Gen G. Prowler goes through close, doesn't find too much. But this Paranoia, if it's well placed, could be perfect. And maybe a trade out here. Yeah, it is. Lysor gonna send him back. Foxy9 wanted to get involved. Lysor takes him down. Maybe a chance here to build this game back. Karen can't do it all! Wolves giving themselves exactly what they needed.
First tick in the box here to try and mount this comeback is the pistol round for Wolves. Like I said, well navigated initially here. Well, the fact we saw that on the screen as I said that, but Gen G able to get back into a position, but you almost expect, even though texture falls kind of blind through the wall, as soon as Wolves see that in the kill feed, the fact that it's texture, they know to try and get ahead of this hit. And
actually, they need that. You can see it. Look at it. Look at the difference in them already.
One of the few examples where actually, even though it's a 1-for-1, a 2-for-2 as well, Juicy and YU able to kind of stop that from developing into any further threat.
Texture's got armor and a stinger as well. He's given away, it's here. Quick Paranoia and a quick pace. They want to try and pressure this problem early, straight up towards heaven.
Yeah, not looking phased.
Oh, they're committing. Texture's down. Oh, Lysor, brilliant hold from him. No support there, though. Could maybe make the most of this. See if that BB is in a really good position, though. Yeah, lovely catch. Easy. Now he's kind of left in a bit of trouble here. Karen going to pick up the stinger. Wait! Munchkin just pulled out the classic of Juicy. It's a 2v2. We're still at a minute. This has been fast and furious. The plant going to put the time on Gen G's side. And Munchkin, careful. These corners contain problems. Spring trying to pick up the pieces. Spring! He can't throw fast enough. Spring lands it. And Wolves stay in this.
Gen G looking to get a little fruity here. Catch Wolves off guard. Almost did, to be honest with you. Lysor, again, you can't ask for much more when you go for commitment there to the stinger, but...
God, it was this that played nervous. That 2v2 at the end of my, oh my days.
There's also the fact that BB doesn't actually swing against the Bulldog. It's a little awkward there to commit to that peak down into hell.
Yep.
But that could have been a disaster. The fact that he kind of waited
this goes here.
A little deeper on rafters, but second on the board regardless here for Wolves. Again, almost looking
This is a nice spot.
beaten, battered and bruised here in terms of the purchase.
Let's go.
They're still alive.
No.
But this scoreline can't stop being brought back, right? You give Gen.G a window, they'll walk it. Juicy, brilliant, brilliant. The confidence being quelled now. Munchkin taking a solo endeavor over towards A and gets punished.
1 and 12 in the first half. Certainly
He's here now.
happy to stand his ground here
Poison's off.
in the second half. And actually a very active clearance towards mid
that.
here.
There.
Take a risk
Inside
here.
the smoke.
I have the spike.
This is fabulous timing. This could free up the additional player to hit the rotate. Depends on Ash. I mean, still, full kit of util could clear this. Timing then becomes everything. Still about a minute to play with here.
Waits for the util to drop and actually then sends the drone through. And
One
I guess,
suppressed.
yeah, confirmation of 2 players. Why you now will be called upon.
A lot of pressure on him here.
Found my wire.
TP taken, they're already through. This is going to be a plant. Unless, why are you trying to spray in here, hoping maybe catching someone trying to get up towards that heaven side? But this is still a bonus for Wolves, but of course that scoreline is such a heavy weighing factor. The plant's now in for Gen.G.
Juicy down to 5 HP. Does have the regen, but still not really going to keep him in a comfortable position here if he does decide to commit.
But if the util goes right, Mike, they've got Pain Shell, they've got Haunts, they've got Paranoias. They need to disrupt the back line 1. And that's how you do it if you're Gen.G. It's back-to-back damage. Gen.G making it look almost too easy. Lysor can't even make it through CT. There's so much utility in his way. Gen.G suddenly stop the tracks.
And actually will keep 4 alive here. So much cleaner in their victory in the second half, sorry. Again, the purchase not quite there for Wolves. You have to come back in now, and ultimately it's going to burn up pretty much everything in the bank. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, cool. Don't need to see him.
I mean, what do you do? Again, see kills come through like that, and it's really rough for Wolves and frustrating as well.
Got to keep their heads up, though. That was a bonus round, right? If you're looking at it traditionally, that's not the worst thing in the world to lose out on. This, though, cannot go the same way. No, then it becomes 11.
And nothing in the bank.
Yeah.
Juicy, at least for, other than the disaster in the first half, building towards the showstopper. Not going to get it in this round, but a chance maybe to build towards it for the next if the purchase is lacking. Gen.G firmly in control of mid this time. Maybe want to actually dip their toes to see what was going on early on in the previous round.
This kind of rolls back to that discussion on the desk as well. There's none of that real cyclable utility. And Juicy dominating over towards A again.
Yeah, Munchkin once again. Maybe showing a lack of respect, but...
This could be huge. See that BB, if he's read this right, if they've got this right, he's in trouble though. They're coming. Oh, what a belting shot. He's still been taken, but he takes one down with him from the grave near on. And now Lysor watching that cross. This is a good position. Commits, catches, punishes. Second, Lysor, outstanding. He's done his job here. The rest of the team now in support. Karen has no opportunity to play in from here.
30 seconds
1v4
left.
Spike over towards Hell. No chance of him having a say in this round, and you touched on that from the desk as well. Almost feels like, yes, the concern being there's no second wave almost. I think Wolves maybe reading into that perfectly in this scenario. But Gen.G had to almost commit behind
10
that.
seconds left.
And I do want to see when Gen.G decide on a timeout, if they feel like they need it, right? Because so far, I feel like Wolves have, I don't say a grip on this half. They've
Well,
had
certainly
good
a
start.
course
They've got
correction here.
Yes, they've got a very good read so far. We're seeing them approach this perfectly. We've seen Juicy winning out his fights over towards A. How much more is he going to keep doing that?
Do Gen.G now decide to maybe try and feed into that a little bit? Just in the nick of time there to find Foxy 9.
It's adjustment from Lysor I really like. The fact he just dips down, catches the cross, knows that pressure's coming from heaven. He takes the gamble that's not going to come through main at the time. I like that. Starting to see a bit more decisive, confident plays. You're not leaving Munchkin out there on his own again, are you?
Well, don't expect a peak to win this time around.
Oh, pace. Okay, pace. Name of the game. At least to look to kind of imply pace.
You see actually almost anticipating somebody slipping ahead of that utility spring. Not spammed out, though. Gen.G very curious about this mid-hold once more.
You look at those salvos have now been burnt by Ash. Still has the drone, but once that's gone, you've got to be really committing that where you need it, right? It can't just be used lackadaisically at this point. Again, I like this from Wolves. Good control towards middle here. And the time's starting to be burnt.
A question mark on both sides, to be honest with you. Ash now clearing through with the drone.
I'd like them to bring an extra body back towards B, though, because it feels like this is the right read from Gen.G.
Paranoia. Potential here to send it through. Actually, the re-clearance here to be made perfectly timed.
Really, really nice. The Paranoia just going to skim past us and quite catch him, but they're in trouble. They're under pressure. Cross gets made this time. Spring going to fall. And now you're going to see Texture trying to take towards the side. Karen's managed to find Lightor. See that baby spinning around. Desperate to do damage. Still holding on. Buying time. A 3v2. And look at Texture's HP. It's low. But the plant's coming in. The paint shell gets thrown through. Denies that quick springboard in. And now let's look at the post plant. Where do they decide to hold?
Cage triggered.
One backside, two towards pillar. YU needs a bit of impact off this. Doesn't get what he wants, but Juicy slowly stepping forward. Nice from YU. Prying out Ash from the corner. But a complimentary post plant now. Texture spotted. YU misses. And Karen finds Juicy. YU, this is a difficult situation. And Texture wins. Is that YU will not relent? He wants this, but he can't have it. Karen stands his ground. And Gen.G step forward again.
Rough turn of events here, because I think the paint shell may be bouncing off the wrong wall here from Juicy, because should have all but sealed the deal on a kill here on the plant. I see FatBB stands his ground for as long as you could hope for in this situation.
One enemy.
That's the fact that YU even corrects on that one. It's Karen, safe pair of hands, still standing for Gen.G. Will deliver the 11th.
And now this is the round that if you're looking at Juicy, you're hoping it's not going over their peak. But you can see where they're approaching. That's the ult now online. And a bit of a different look coming out from Gen.G.
Now, whether or not they're going to try and actually react on the back of this trip in mid, to wait for that re-clearance from Wolves and know that there's potentially one or two bodies invested over there.
This is a really nice approach from Gen.G. I like what they're doing here. And it's going to have to pick up the pace a bit now that they've broken this. But they've been given the red carpet rollout, right? YU was good last round, but this is asking a lot. Great. Isolated fight on towards Karen. And just a second. Oh, Spring suddenly appears out of nowhere.
Spikes up on rafters.
Oh, that could be done for. Foxy9 and Ash. How are they going to get back to it? Ramp's guarded, it's controlled. You've got Spring waiting here. Bucky in, and he gets the shin, but that's not enough. Foxy9 powers forward. Juicy and Lightsaw holding off for dear life.
Gen.G are a little quick to get to site here, but YU finding two is an absolute miracle here. Texture looking to break the crosshair placement.
Spike down A.
But actually, it's Spring to actually pick up the backside of this execution. Like I said, Spike falling on rafters, a disaster for Gen.G. And finally, we'll force the timeout here. 11-7 the scoreline, and Gen.G have to take a breather, take stock of the situation, because Wolves certainly putting up a fight here in the second half, Lauren.
They really are. Considering the amount of rounds they had to come in with, they had to go against the odds literally of picking up just a pistol against Gen.G. And now they've built on this. We're starting to see Juicy starting to fire up a bit. We're starting to see the Wolves players looking a bit more confident, getting a good read, and maybe starting to exploit some of those problems that Gen.G were having up against Fnatic. This utility cycle's still an issue.
Yeah, I mean, you made that comparison to the first wave and how Gen.G almost you'd lean towards if Ash isn't the lurker, right? The one to kind of sell something elsewhere. Wolves know to expect something behind that util. Certainly one of the positives for them. You don't necessarily want to see them sit back and rely on that, because you can get a little dicey there with, you know, 3, potentially 4 members of Gen.G looking to follow through in it. But adjustment here from Munchkin over towards A, who's not found any value up against Juicy. See if that does, see if that does continue. see actually Gen G may be toying with the idea of a quicker all-in piece here with pistols.
And then 1-1-3, maybe looking to try and catch or punish any of those information plays down middle or over towards B main, but we haven't really seen Wolves having to go to that yet, really. At least not early. Again, good reactive play off the back of the utility investment. And this is quick, though, from Ash. Already the drone going to come through. That's going to instantaneously spot the player up towards Vents, that being Spring. Foxy9's got to be a bit careful there. Yeah, does manage to back away towards sewers, but gives away position. Now, there's a lot of additional support here.
Why you very lucky not to get caught there on the readjustment.
Cam got a lot of info, though. That's a lot of players now noted. Surprised we don't see an additional body, but Fat Baby doesn't seem to be fussed. Doesn't seem to be upset about it. He holds the ground well, readjusts up towards Heaven. Still has full kit here, keep in mind.
Extra trying to find something, but Wolves not really giving anything away just yet. Rightfully so against this purchase. So 40 seconds now, and Gen G will re-explore mid.
Still being shouldered by Juicy, who's got his ult. If it's panic stations, right, he can best that. Still got one over towards site as well. There's the player noted. Spring can't do much to deny this. Going to get a good chip on the cross, and there's Juicy now being rewarded. That's probably going to be a one, but it's done. Juicy doing well. Good control, good confidence builders here. He needs this. And Gen G not finding steps forward. Faltering almost on the way. Looking to thread the needle and find those timings. Punishing maybe rotations and support towards that A side, but it's not to be. An out texture, you're damn good. But I think this might be a little out of your means here. Wolves are back in business. A flawless round, Mike. This could be the key steps to this game now, actually being back on.
Back in on the purchase here for Gen G, so was what they've discussed here. Said the Snakebite just catching. Was the paint shell to good use as well. Gets the reset, actually. Slow down, maybe separate the remaining members of Gen G. Yeah, certainly looking towards the value of that timeout now. It's that gap all but closed. The hard work's already done in terms of the comeback.
Look at the switch up as well from Wolves. We've got, what, 3 players playing middle. You've got the switch up of the Cypher Util 2 over towards that B site, leaving just one. That's going to be what Light saw over towards A. So a really big read into maybe how Gen G want to approach this.
I think Wolves almost anticipating something off this drone early or Ash's utility.
Oh my god, are they just going for a shootout in middle? Oh, this is so bold. Ridiculous, and it works! Wolves igniting their confidence after a disastrous first half. Gen G, they're going to be on the ropes.
Going to be kicking themselves because they've been allowed to sit behind these smokes time and time again, then re-explore themselves. It's been Spring tucked back into Vents, and this time around, the grand reveal, heartbreak for Gen G. Left to hold on to these 2 rifles and what feels like an eternity left on the clock.
And this scoreline, Mike, on the half, what was it, 9-3? It felt like I don't want to say impossible, it's just improbable, right? You talk about percentage chance. Now, even after the first couple of rounds, you're probably not that worried yet,
well,
right?
I hate to say it, but it was a 9-3 half versus Fnatic as well.
Oh, no.
Here on Split.
Bloody hell. That went, what, OT? Fnatic got across the line.
A bitter dream repeating itself here, potentially.
Yeah, this suddenly does feel like we've got a game. Like, the scoreline, as I said, suddenly becomes such a different-looking beast. You're now held on 11, right? You haven't been able to break through that. You've been kind of
I think actually where Gen G, wasn't it like 11-7 or something? Where then
I'm like, oh. And Wolves are looking more and more confident. It's not just the fact that the scoreline is getting closer, but Wolves look good doing it.
Yeah, catching it there. Like I said, this is so heads up from Wolves, reading the situation, but it's on the back of, I don't want to say a gamble, but I want to say guess to what Gen G are doing early on here. It's only really been the drone that's been shown. There's no set piece towards mid that Gen G have displayed. Here with the Stingers.
Look at the ults though.
Yeah, looking towards a pace change here, and Lysol going to have his hands full if Gen G fully commit here off rip.
And it looks like a jump spot in middle reveals nothing, so I'm waiting to see how much Lysol can do. This is so much for him I don't know how much he can even live in this situation. He's going to stick on site, though. Going to try and play towards Pillar and hope the support comes in through Heaven, and it is. Slowly but surely. Ult going to be invested coming out from Sufat BB, but it's still going to be Lysor.
They have to find him.
Lysor! He's so slippery around this! Threading the needle! So perfectly, and he's still alive. 15 HP, still breathing, finally goes down. Munchkin giving them a bit of life here. Down to him and Karen to make this one work. It ain't happening. Karen now has to back away. What more is there to be done? Look where the spike is. Wolves, with just one player basically on that side of the map, held that down.
Another situation, 45 on the clock. Karen has to hold on to this rifle.
Prize
I
possession.
mean, what are Gen G doing there?
They look like they're smacking into a brick wall. They don't know. They don't know
they're
what
able
they're doing.
to deny all the sight lines into sight. Again, I didn't actually track Foxy9's util, but have been using that to stop the peak coming out from Heaven, to isolate a sight player. Pit goes up towards screen. Lysor able to just exist for way too long.
These are frustrating rounds as well. If you're Gen G, right, you are great at this. You're not very clinical about it. Thanks, observers, for the switch. You're normally very clinical about these site takes. You know your protocol list very well.
10 seconds left.
They are not getting that right now. They are making some misses here, which is surprising to me.
We talked about Wolves being rattled in the first half. Now seeing something very similar of Gen G here in the second.
Cage track.
One away now. Look at that scoreline, 11-10. Wolves are at the door now. How is Lysor allowed to live that long? As you said.
Oh, wow, well, Juicy finding this kill as well. Certainly doesn't make things better, but unfortunately Munchkin put in a really, really tough position to try and potentially pass the spike off. But Karen's so disconnected, waiting for somebody to drop down and then pressure into their own pit, but it just doesn't happen. It almost looks like he's just watched this one passing by from main, to be honest.
It's getting tense now. The second timeout used by Gen G.
And the crowd,
they love it,
starting to build behind them now.
Hope is the dangerous thing, and Wolves are certainly igniting it here. As said, winning hearts and minds throughout this. The underdogs, the whole way through. Through Swiss, they look lethal. Here, they've kept that up. Now, it's one thing to have a close game against Gen G. It's another to beat
close
them.
out. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Certainly done the hard work, but they have to get this across the line now.
There's ult still here for Gen G as well. You've still got 3 ults, actually pretty impactful ults as well. Foxy9s, Textures, and Ashes.
We did see Spring actually collect the orb as well, so the pit available here for Wolves, so they could close off a section of the map. Let's kick things off in round 22.
Here we go.
Actually going to put
Like
YU
it. Oh my god.
into a spot. Actually, they might even play into this. He's also got a one-way set up ahead of this.
The only thing that can really reveal it is what? Going to be the drone? And Ash is using that middle. They won't be able to clear this. This is still going to be a very uncomfortable position. So Ash pressuring towards Heaven early.
He's not going to get, and there's no way. He's going to get played in here perfectly.
He keeps his cool and he delivers Lysor again in unison. The dream is very much alive for Wolves.
And just like that, another round is over for Gen G.
Look at the time. 1 minute 13. The outcome is determined here.
Karen's still holding onto this same rifle for what, 4 rounds now.
Back to spawn we go. Again, this composition falling short. The drone invested towards middle. Nothing else to reveal that. And YU, great call from Wolves to do this.
This is exactly the recipe of a sort of setup that would cause problems for this composition. If the drone's not well invested, they've got to put a body on to find out where Wolves are playing.
They've done their homework today, haven't they, Wolves? Figuring it out. They had recent tape. They looked into it. They found ways to make it hurt. And these 2 final players for Gen G, I mean, you got to imagine the comms can't be feeling good right now. It's got to be tense as hell. You've just had your timeouts burnt. It is all down to that IGL, the boys on the stage itself. And they have watched this game slip away. They were at the door. Now they're inside the building, Mike. It's 11-11.
How the tables have turned as well. Ash and Munchkin having a similar struggle that Juicy did in the first half. Unable to really have a say, have any input, to be honest with you. As Wolves now will tie things up. 11-11 here on Split.
Oh my God, as if they could take the lead in almost the final hour, right? In the final round near on. Now we're down to the real lower end of the purchase. That was the start and end of the round. It felt like, as said, this was beautifully handled. Lights were working in brilliant unison with him as well. Not just leaving him out on his own. It was perfect.
I mean, you can see on the replay as well, just walking into an absolute blender. Gen.G can't really do anything, but because they're so invested, the casualty's too great to recover.
Have they learned their lesson? How do they approach it now? Try and deny maybe late space being explored on towards B main with the util going in, but Gen.G, a test of their mettle here. Wolves' confidence will be sky high. Can they quell it? Can they break their hearts in the final moments? Wolves need to react correctly. Ooh, this is scary, Mike.
It's all been scary. We're living a nightmare right now for Gen.G. Unable to really get themselves over the first hurdles of some of these rounds. It's just a predacious approach once again towards this mid-hold, which has suited Wolves down to a T. We've seen them once just clean sweep behind this smoke.
Got these ults still. Got so much to bank on, but they're going back for this B split, this 3-2. 3 players from Wolves over on this side.
At least this time Texas is not going to be sliding into the trip.
Stall. Spring going to slow it down. Time now becoming a factor.
30 seconds
the tension, it's literally palpable here. Here comes the hit. Do they survive this? Texture goes in, gets the job done. Spring holds the line, takes down from C9. Spring in the backline! Takes down Texture. It's on Munchkin and Caron with 10 seconds really to play with. And look where the spike is, Mike.
10 seconds
It's
left.
up in heaven. 8 seconds. The time has passed them by. The unthinkable is happening. Wolves taking the lead in the final hour.
Just the gift that keeps on giving.
The crowd around their seat with him.
And they clean up the round. Nothing for Gen.G to take away from round 23.
Ults were burnt as well. They've got nothing left to bank on.
It's just fantastic to see Wolves step up to the plate once more.
How many heroes does this team have? Spring there with those 2 up in heaven. Felt like it was a gift. Catching them on the way down. Unreal stuff.
Fade looking like he's born again in the coaching booth.
Hold on. It could still be OT. They have not got across the line yet. Gen.G with one chance to just try and keep up in this Wolves, snatching away that 12th though.
Gen.G just looks so shook right now
They do.
how this second half has panned out. YU once more firmly in control of B site. Cam will spot out one player, not necessarily painting a clear picture, but Prowler sent down mid. So Wolves still aware of the potential here, and the drone again, almost now becoming Gen.G's downfall in terms of telling Wolves what their intentions are. Haven't really seen it employed as misdirection too often.
No charges.
At least this time favourable in terms of numbers here. Only 2 members of Wolves. So in fact, maybe has to respect this and... Oh no!
How's he? He's dead and buried. Texture looking to do it all himself. He has to. Spring can't save him this time. That B side now looking vulnerable. Can he hold on to this? YU's been good. This is a lot of pressure. Good paranoia. He takes the space off the back, and now here they go. Lights off. YU! Oh, back to back!
They're doing it!
Holding on! Munchkin and Caron once again left with 10 seconds, and not much more. And this is the dream come true!
My God!
Defenders win.
What a turnaround, Lauren!
Drink that in. You will not see anything like